I don't know. Hello?
Ruben!
Was that it? Are we on?
Yeah, but you gotta...
You gotta let it go.
Okay, a couple things. A, you have to test the mics first so we know we're ready.
Wow.
B, you gotta run the music until it gets to the little instrumental part.
Like we've done for the last, I don't know, year?
Or more.
Well, it'll be a year.
I don't know.
Hey, guess what? We're on. We're live. On with the show. I guess this is it.
Whatever.
Wow. Okay, wrap it up, Chuckles.
Wrap it up, Fuzzball. Let me drink some water.
What time is it?
I'm like so disturbed.
You're all bent out of shape.
Well, because I had a wrap, and it was a chicken ranch.
It's like a yo empty.
But then there was bacon, and I don't eat. I cut bacon a year ago. I don't do that, so I had to pick it out. It was gross.
Where did you find that wrap?
I got it as a gift.
Oh well.
Yeah. So there we go. But I don't eat pig, and I don't eat beef, and I don't eat lamb. And even chicken, I'm kind of funny. So chicken is I can't eat chicken on the bone. It has to be chicken that's off the bone. And fish I eat, and that's it. And that's all I eat as far as like meat goes. And even chicken is very few and far between, sparse. But, for a wrap, I might have a little, and that was fine. But then I started eating it, and I was like, I taste bacon. And I nearly lost my shit because I don't eat bacon.
And I'm sure that was a fun moment for all.
I was like, vomit. I don't eat bacon.
Oh, nuts. Well, who knows?
And my friend was like, well, because you don't like bacon. I said, no, it's not about don't like. I actually love bacon. I loved bacon.
Right.
But I made a conscious decision in my life for health purposes and also for the animals, sake of the animals. I don't eat bacon anymore. And it was actually very easy for me to give up. I thought it would be hard. Actually, the hardest part was during the holidays when you have like the spiral bacon, the spiral ham.
Yeah.
And it tastes like maple syrup.
Yeah.
That was difficult to give up.
Right.
But once I didn't have it, I didn't have Easter, there was ham, I didn't touch it. The last Thanksgiving, I didn't touch it. And now I don't even think about it. So I had, my friend was at my house and he was eating a ham sandwich and I didn't even give a crap. I was like, whatever. So it was very easy. And I thought it would be so hard, but it really wasn't hard at all.
I gotta tell you, I have friends of mine who are just, bacon freaks.
Oh, sure.
I mean, there's one guy I went to college with, and he's heavy into CrossFit. I mean, he's gotten heavy into CrossFit. He and his brother.
He's fat?
No.
Oh.
He is not.
Oh, heavy into CrossFit. I thought you said.
I should say.
Got it.
Or I should say more grammatically correct. He is heavily into CrossFit. How about that?
Oh, okay.
He was always a thin guy to the point of being like, you blow on him and he falls over thin.
Right.
Now, at age like, what is it, I guess 56, he's the man. Yeah. And he is all about the bacon. He is just bacon. I can't read.
People love bacon. They do. I mean, that's that's the thing. And people love it. And whatever. That's fine. I gotta
say, I was never like ravenous about it years ago, and I mean when I was a little kid, like elementary school age, Dad would get bacon. We would go out to the store, pick up a few things. Hey, what do you say? We get a package of bacon.
Yeah.
Okay, Dad, whatever you like, pal. And I eat it. It's fine, but it's not like I miss it if I don't. It's just.
What's weird about bacon?
To me.
When I did eat bacon, I never liked it overcooked. I remember when people would overcook it, it was crispy. I thought it was disgusting.
That's the way I love it.
I hate it overcooked. I hate crispy. And it was the same with my steaks when I used to eat beef or hamburgers, anything. I hated things overcooked because people like well done steaks. It tastes like a hockey puck. It's disgusting.
You know what? I like them just entertaining the notion of well, like medium. Just leaning a little bit toward well. I don't like it well done because you're right. It's like it's just
gross.
Yes, I'll have the grilled shoe leather, please. You know what I mean? And I just I don't want that. There's been some great places I've had steaks through the years. Whether it's been local, places. New York City. There used to be a place years ago, I don't even know if it's open anymore, called Peter's Backyard in New York City.
Oh.
And they had, in the middle of the restaurant, they had the big, giant I guess it was gas-fired grill.
Oh, boy.
With the hood coming down like so.
Oh,
you know,
boy.
And it was in the middle of you couldn't not see it. And it was, as impressive as hell, especially for a kid, like, wow, look at that. And I was not a big steak fan when I was a little boy. Was not.
Yeah, neither was I.
It took me, it was like a project. It would take me forever, to chew it up and
Yeah.
they'd be all done with it. Hey, let's go for ice cream. I'm still like, okay, Dad, that sounds good.
Yeah, people say there's nothing like a good steak, and I'm like, I honestly never had those feelings. I think that's probably why it was easy to give up, because, I mean, I did eat steak, but
Right.
I never was like, oh, I want a steak. It really wasn't like that. It was kind of occasionally I'd be like, oh, I'll have a steak.
Sure.
Yeah. And with burgers, I never, maybe when I was a kid, but what turned me off of burgers wasn't even the animal situation. It was because I had a burger from McDonald's, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, whenever I gave up beef, and I got violently ill. I was so sick from it, and it just kind of made me think, like, well, maybe, this is how it started. I said, maybe I just will never eat burgers from fast food, but I'll only eat burgers from my own home. So I kind of went that route. So I was still eating beef, but I wouldn't eat it out. I wouldn't eat it at any restaurant. And then I think one day I just was like, I think I'm just going to stop and see if I can do it.
Okay.
And that was it. And I haven't touched it in like 10 years.
Again, you've heard me say this in many, many incarnations. Do what you like what you do. You go where you like where you go. Eat what you like what you eat. It's as simple as that. I do enjoy, and I have to be in the mood. I will say that I have to really be in the mood. I do enjoy a good steak. I'm not one of those, like you just said. There's nothing like a good steak.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Every now and again, I can remember. Gee, this is going back into the '80s when I was out at college in Susquehanna University in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania.
Susquehanna.
Yeah. And a couple towns up and over from Selinsgrove was a little town called Northumberland, Pennsylvania. And
Not Cumberland.
No, Northumberland.
Northumberland.
Right. And there's a place there called Front Street Station where the fish is fresh and they've got daily specials. Underwriting grants for WQSU brought to you by Front Street Station, Duke Street, Northumberland. And hands down, and this is when I was a lot more into, steak, because I was a college guy. College guy, frat guy, I'm the man, okay? 19, 20, 21 years old, and I'm indestructible. And one time we went, to the Front Street Station. It's an old railroad station, converted into a restaurant right on the tracks, literally, and the tracks were still active, which is fun for me. One of the best prime ribs I have ever had came out of Front Street Station in Northumberland. I'm going to say about 1985, 1986.
Wow. And you remember that?
Because it was really very great. I can't even describe it, but it was good. It was not a project to eat. It was not a project to cut. It was not whatever mild marinade they put on it was just perfect. If they put it, or whatever they, grilled it on or in, they gave it flavor, was just absolutely perfect. And I think maybe I've had 2 or 3 like that the rest of my whole life.
Wow.
I've had some good ones, but this was very, very great.
I remember having a good steak in Texas.
Well, hello.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Rome,
And that, again, that was like 10 years ago when I went to Texas, but...
I think I did, that may be another one of them, because we went to the Fort Worth Stockyards when I went with my buddies down to the NASCAR race back in, I'm going to say, '02. Pardon me, my friend Ross from Halifax, Nova Scotia. No, from Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Oh, I should...
Ross from...
Ross.
The wrong Ross.
We were on a break.
Character name.
Oh. So,
David Schwimmer, actually.
yes, David Schwimmer.
But we went down, he and his brother and a couple of pals, we went down, we met in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for the NASCAR race, and we went, because it was raining that one on, I guess, Saturday. We went down to the Fort Worth Stockyards, and yes, that was another place where it was really, really very great, I have to say. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah,
I'm not one of these guys, I gotta have a steak every What, Thursday?
Yeah, I don't know how people.
No.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
in
think
the mood.
I think you just end up like pooping a lot.
Or, not for nothing, you get all kind of bound up.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's like poopy. I mean, it's just poopy.
I'm more of an Italian cuisine guy.
Yeah, I like pasta. Well, you know what though? I
I gotta watch
realized.
with pasta anymore.
Yeah, I think I want to go on a little diet. I'm gonna lose some weight. I mean,
Because you're so huge.
no, it's not that. It really is. It's just like you get to, especially because I'm almost done teaching for the year, and then I go back in September. But what it is when you're teaching, it's like you want to be in shape and you want to demonstrate the moves and stuff like that. And I'll be teaching some additional classes. And
Dance classes, by the way, kids, just so we're clear.
did I not say that?
You did not.
Oh.
Not tonight.
I thought I did. But anyway, so I want to get in better shape. So I think, and the biggest thing, my biggest downfall is carbs, like pastas and breads. I love bread. I love bread so much. I mean, and bagels. Oh, my God. I have a bagel every day. Like, I have a bagel every day. Why do I not hear myself? I have a bagel every day. I, really do. I want to see something here. Do you hear me? I have a bagel every day.
I don't know what the
I can hear
monitor
it. I can hear it in the. You know what it is? It's the monitor because I
Hot
can hear myself in the
Hot
headphones.
mic?
Hot mic. Yeah. So I'm taking these off now. I just wanted to test. What was I saying?
The carbs, the pasta.
Yeah, the carbs. I love them. So giving up carbs will be hard, and then sugar, because sugar's in everything.
It's it's almost inescapable. It really is.
It really is.
And with me, I have to. I should really watch. And every once in a while I fall off the wagon. But again, I think we've had this discussion too, to where when there's something going on in your life and there's some stress. Some people, they smoke, they drink, they do illegal drugs maybe, or they carouse. They get with the opposite sex. I myself, I eat, and it was nothing for me probably back, I'm going to say 2012, to whack down a pint of ice cream probably every other night. I'd come home and their mother would be not being herself, and father fretting over her, and we watched a little TV news, and I go down below, to the I was the 47-year-old son in the basement, and grab myself a pint out of the refrigerator and done. And a few years later I got diagnosed. You've got type 2 diabetes. Not really.
Yeah, that's not good.
And so I have to watch. I mean, I don't not have ice cream, but I don't have it in the house.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. If you keep it out of the house, you don't eat it.
Right.
But like at my work, there's always bagels. It's
Well,
a bad
yeah,
thing.
I know
Always
what you're saying.
bagels. So I'm always having bagels. But I keep like chips and chocolate and stuff out of my home. No
Right.
cookies. But then it always happens occasionally. Someone will bring cookies to work. Will bring chocolate to work. Will bring something to work, and it's very hard for me to just not eat it. That's just
Right.
because it's there.
Well, the Dunkin' Donuts box laid on the table
Oh.
under the clock in the lunchroom
Oh,
today.
that
I walked right by it twice. I'm like, you know what? Not
You
gonna
didn't eat
do
it? You didn't eat
No, I did not.
Good for you.
I
Good
just
for
I
you.
don't want to. I got too much,
Good for you.
I mean, and here again, now I don't not. I mean, I've been known to take a donut maybe once a month anymore, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna not have.
We're doing
But
it
I'm
every
not gonna
day. It's just
overdo.
yeah. I had a
Just
cookie
not.
today, and I was the chocolate chip cookie from Panera. And
Oh, those are good.
they're really good, but I felt guilt.
No, did you do it every day?
No, I just
Then don't feel guilty.
I don't know. I don't know.
Back to your thing with McDonald's. I can remember.
Yeah. bleh.
And I seldom. I mean, you talk about really having to be jonesing for something. I very seldom have a burger at McDonald's anymore. I used to. I had a ritual. I'm going to say about 1987, 88, when I would be living out in central Pennsylvania. I'd come down to the shore every Friday night to visit my girlfriend, who became my first wife, because her people had a place down in Bricktown, house on the lagoon with the boat and the whole big deal. So I would leave work out there at 5 o'clock, and I'd roll in about 9:30, down at Brick Township, but not quite, more than halfway. Once I crossed into Phillipsburg, New Jersey from Easton, before they had the bypass, the 78 bypass, I would stop at McDonald's, because now all of a sudden it's like 7 o'clock and I haven't eaten since lunch. And the McDonald's was right there. I'd used the men's room. wash up, grab myself a quarter pounder with cheese and a Coke and a fry, and bang, off I'd go. I would no sooner walk into the house down the shore at Bricktown and be like, oh, gotta go. You know what I mean, it was like, and a couple times it was really not good. And I, you don't think. I mean, back then, what am I, 22, 23, 24 years old? You don't think. Again, Superman.
Superman.
But I traced it back. And I'm like, that's what has to be it. So I stopped going to the McDonald's on the way home. I don't remember what I did differently or where I stopped differently, and it doesn't matter, or even if I stopped for that matter. And all of a sudden, no problem. No problem.
That's what I'm saying.
Channeling my inner elf.
Fast food. Good.
No problem.
No problem. Elf. I'm a self.
Remember?
Yeah, of course I remember Alf. Yeah, so that's that. So I think I'm gonna start as of Monday because it's the holiday weekend and there's a barbecue and I can't start this weekend. But as of Monday, my diet will consist of salads and smoothies. That's it.
Wow.
Water and for a snack I'll have like almonds or something like that.
Well, almonds are good.
Yeah, almonds or nuts,
Well, nuts to you.
plain nuts, not like roasted nuts.
Hot nuts.
Hot Mike. So that's gonna be salads and smoothies for 1 month, for 30 days.
Wow. What are you hoping to accomplish? What are you hoping?
I want to lose 10 pounds.
Wow. Salads and smoothies. Huh.
I can do it.
Well, of course.
I think.
Therefore
Some people of the Italian persuasion tend to overfeed me and bring me food
Mangiata, come
all
on.
the
Eat
time.
something.
Yeah, it's terrible all the time.
I
And
got a colleague at work like that who just all of a sudden, and God love him, and I'm sure he does, and I was happy for it because my lunch was light today. I was walking by the desk, and I was on the phone, and all of a sudden I see, boom, look at that. Ooh, egg roll. Thank you, sir. Yeah, enjoy mangiata. Okay, got it.
Yeah. It's not always the best thing. So, when I'm like, I'm going to eat light, I'm going to have salad, and the next thing you know, there's like a chocolate cake, There you go. Oh, look at these bagels I got you. Or look at this dough. Look at this cake. Look at this lasagna. Look at this or whatever. So I'm like, no.
Look at the nice cannoli
No.
I got from the Italian
Yeah,
bakery.
look at the cannoli.
You
Oh,
can't
yeah.
not eat it. It would be
Yeah, here's
rude.
3
It
cannolis,
would be
not one.
rude.
Oh, I know
Look
you
at
like
that.
macaroons. Here's 20. No. No. Here's a sandwich. Here's 2 sandwiches. Here's 2 wraps.
You gotta eat. Come on.
You gotta
Let's
eat
go.
pasta. No. So that's the hard part. But I'm gonna do salads and smoothies.
All right.
That's it.
Starting May
Monday.
27th. All right.
Monday. Well, because I can't do it this weekend because we're
Monday.
having a barbecue at work, and then it's a barbecue over here and a barbecue over there, and I'm going out to eat, and it's a lot going on this weekend.
No,
So
don't
I'm
do it
like,
that
no.
way. I mean,
So
we're going to do a
too much
little
going on.
barbecue out at the Happy Hacienda in Bloomsburg.
Oh,
Not there.
I thought you were talking about the G Spot.
No.
No.
That would be the G Spot, not the Happy Hacienda.
Not the Happy Hacienda.
Now, both can be happy, mind you, in different connotations, but
Not
that's
that one.
kinda
Not that
where we're
one.
going.
So you're gonna have a barbecue?
Yeah, we're gonna have a little scene on Saturday. I
That's
think, out
fun.
there. Yeah, have some folks over who are friends of ours,
Nice.
and Jack and I guess maybe his sister Amanda will show up. I don't. Hopefully with the kids. Yeah, we'll go from there. Just take it easy,
That's fun.
Yeah, it's yeah. I like to. I am der Grillenmeister. Yeah.
What are you gonna make?
To be determined. I'm thinking probably if history is any dictator, chicken, maybe some sausage, and probably standard fare. Some franks and burgers and what. So the unofficial start of summer, so you got to do the do.
I made my manager go to ShopRite and buy me a veggie burger for our barbecue on Friday. Yeah, I did. My manager. Yeah, I did.
You'll go there and like it.
Yeah, because he's like, yeah, they're sending me to ShopRite to get burgers for the barbecue, and I go, I should go on my phone, and I go, see that? Can you get that for me, please? And he's like, all right. It's pretty nice, right? My manager goes and gets me burgers. What does your manager do for you?
Egg rolls.
Not that manager. The other ones.
Oh, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You see all this gray over here?
Yeah.
It wasn't. Was it quite this silver
No,
when you first
no,
met me?
it
What,
was
3.5 years ago?
It was not.
That's what they got me. Thanks, folks.
It was
I can't
not.
tell you how much that means to me. I really can't.
Wow, 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah, 3.5
I've been
years.
here. I've been there 4.
Yeah, it would have been 4 years in September
Oh,
if I
sorry.
had stayed there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't give a shit. Whatever.
Is that right? I'll be damned.
Yeah. The only thing that's good is the money. The rest of it can kiss my ass. Sorry.
There you have
I don't
it.
like to be abused.
No, I
Sorry.
don't think anybody does.
No. Nobody does. But yeah, so that's that.
All
And
right. So you're on a mission. You have an accomplishment you want to attain.
yeah, I'm feeling kind of sluggish today.
Yeah, you're like a little moose shot.
Yeah,
you know
I'm
that?
not. I'm feeling kind of. I don't know. It's not emotional, or I don't know. I just feel like meh, like bleh. I'm not as excited as I usually am.
You're not. You're usually
No.
up and around like a 9, 10, 11.
No.
You're like floating around a 6 today.
At Villa Maria, they had the stand-up comic.
Oh, how
comedy
was
game. Well, I
that,
didn't
by
go.
the way? Oh, nuts.
So I went the first
I wanted
time.
to get a report.
I know I went the first
I don't
time.
ask for much.
No, and I was going to go the second time.
Right.
But then I just I don't want to go unless I'm going to stand up, do it. And I just needed a little break cuz I got to get my material together. I got to work on my timing. And my timing is sucking. I got to work on it. So I don't want to go up again until I feel a little more polished. I mean, I'm comfortable, so comfort level isn't the issue.
Comfort
It's
is
just
good.
more that when my delivery.
Okay.
So I've been practicing to my dog, and she thinks I'm great.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
she laughs every time.
Sadie, the doggy lady, she's a good
laughs
friend.
every time. So yeah, so I figured I'll take a break from this one. So I'm going to do every second one, not every one. So
Okay.
every second one. So I'm going to do the next one.
When is the next one, by the way? Do we know?
In a couple weeks, few weeks. I think sometime in
right?
June. Yeah. So I'm going to do that, and then I took a break from the karaoke. I went not last week, the week before. So I might go karaoke this Friday. Might do
Okay.
that at Friendly's.
Friday or Sunday?
Sunday. What did I say?
Friday.
I don't know. Sunday.
Let's see. I want to.
Oh wait, no, because Sundays. I might do it the following weekend. It's Memorial Day. I don't want to do anything that I shouldn't.
Well,
have
then
to.
don't.
Yeah.
Now, on Sunday, June 2nd, I won't be around. However, on the 9th, perhaps,
What?
for the karaoke, the Sunday karaoke.
Oh, I thought you meant like for the show.
No, Sunday, June 2nd,
I don't know.
won't be. Wow, she's really off tonight,
Yeah, I'm
kids.
off tonight. I'm off. I get.
I don't mean like a prom dress. I mean like.
Yeah, I'm a little off. I gotta admit it. I'm not my sharp, witty self.
Would you have a bad nut or something at work
I
today?
don't know. I'm just
Bad pack of almonds?
I don't know what it is. I'm feeling this. I don't know what it is. It's a good question.
You got a little Spilgus down in Connecticut?
I don't know. So yeah, maybe come karaoke
On the 9th.
the Sunday after. I wish it was live band though. I'd love that.
We got spoiled. We got spoiled
did.
that one time.
And what's
It's like,
crazy is that they have live music there because the guys do like a little guitar thing, but the karaoke is not. It comes from the computer, so they don't know the songs. You have to do it. I don't know. It's all right. It's karaoke.
Make it work.
I make it work.
How was it when you went previously?
It was all right.
What would you do differently or have done differently?
It's just the crowd, because it's Friendlies, is a little older
Oh.
in a kind of like song choice.
You might want to pick a song from the 60s, 70s. You would
Percy
not,
Faith?
80s and 90s, not so much.
Uh-oh.
That's kind of my take on that. Because my first song I sang was a song from the 2000s, was Carrie Underwood. Didn't really go over that well.
Whoa.
Not that anybody hated it, but you could just tell people were kind of bored.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know the song, you know. But then I sang Gladys Knight, Midnight Train to Georgia. That was a big hit.
Woo, woo.
And I realized, I looked around the room, I said, you got to play to your audience.
Yeah.
And the audience was like 60 plus.
Really?
Yeah, they were older. I mean, there were a couple
Well,
of young
Sunday
people
at
mixed in
Friendlies,
there.
I mean,
but,
okay, I get
yeah.
it. I get it.
So it was, you know what I mean? So I think that I had to practice, like, you know, maybe some Motown and, you know, some doo-wop maybe or something like that in order to, you know, appease the crowd.
So Chris Isaak, Wicked Game wouldn't work.
No.
Tom Petty,
No.
Running Down a Dream wouldn't work.
Nah.
Wow, those are two good ones.
Yeah. Okay. Though they did the guitarist, the host, and his wife sang that song with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper from Stars Born.
Yeah, which one?
It's only one song. Watching the dive, I'll never breathe the ground.
Didn't see the movie.
It's like a popular song. It won the Oscar for best song this year.
Didn't watch the Oscars.
Okay, so
hate the award
they
shows.
sang that because it was this year.
Oh, of course. Well, it's current.
But it was a very good performance. But when I looked around, nobody knew what they were singing. Nobody knew. Nobody
really?
knew. Yeah, it was a good performance though. But then somebody sang. Then they sang "Stop Dragging My Heart Around," which is our song. So I was a little mad about that. But then I looked around the room and I went, I'm not that mad because nobody seemed to really. But they sang this old song from the 50s and people were going ape shit. So
Really?
yeah, so I think the crowd is an older crowd. So you have to be particular as to what songs you pick and pick like 60s. 70s.
So a little Motown might work, you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, a little
Sugar
bit of Frankie
pie,
Valley.
honey bunch.
If you want to go in the Frankie Valley, type Four Seasons, that'd
Four
probably
Reasons.
be good.
Wow.
Supremes might be good. Or you could sing Brandy, you're a fine
You're
girl.
a fine
What a
girl.
good wife you would be.
You would be.
Or Van Morrison. You get that kind of. Maybe some Stones, but earlier Stones. That's what you're going to have to do. So
And they
that's
have a
my
wide
little take on
selection
you.
of vintage classics to
Oh,
choose
no.
from? What?
So what you do is you pick the song yourself, and they just look for it, Google it on karaoke. I mean, on like the YouTube. So like if you go to YouTube, you can Google any karaoke version of any song.
Really?
So yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Anything.
I guess I've seen
So
that.
if I look up a song right now and put karaoke next to it, the version will come up. So what they do is they have a laptop in front of them, and then you say, "I'm in the mood to sing," I don't know. Give me a song.
Jerry and the Pacemakers, Ferry Across the Mersey.
That's what I'm in the mood to sing. So you tell them that, and then they look it up, and then they bring up the karaoke version, and then they play it. And a couple times they made
Wow.
mistakes, because the one song, that Golden, was that it? And you sang it last time.
Oh, Gold. Yeah.
Gold. Well, apparently,
When the lights come down
Right.
in the California
well, there's
town.
about like 5 different songs called Gold
Oh, yeah.
that have come out.
Yep.
So when they kept trying to find it, the different Gold came up. There was like a Taylor Swift Gold, a Justin Bieber Gold, that Gold.
Yep.
It was like all different Golds. I was like, wrong one. No. And then there
Andrew
was,
Gold, Oh, What a Lonely Boy. She was born on summer day, 1951. Dun, dun,
Is that
dun,
from
dun,
Boogie Nights?
dun, dun. It might have been.
And it goes, oh, what a lonely boy.
Yep.
Oh, what a... Yeah, that's Boogie Nights soundtrack. Such a good soundtrack.
It is a good soundtrack.
Very good soundtrack.
Andrew Gold, 1976.
But apparently, yeah, there's a lot. And then there's another song they were looking for, which was from the 50s, I think. And another version. Oh, it was Taylor Swift. It was You Belong to Me. And there was another song called You Belong to Me.
Oh.
And then they put it in, and then Taylor Swift started playing. And they were like, oh.
No.
So, yeah, they have to be,
The
they have to be mindful.
stars out tonight. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't care if it's wrong or if it's right.
See, you should be there because you could sing that stuff because you lived in that era.
I did not live in that era.
I think you did. I think you did.
I
think you did.
You.
I think there was an old man who died, and when you were born, his soul was reincarnated
Old
in you.
man, look at your life. I'm a lot like you were.
Yeah, they sang Cat Stevens too. That was another thing they sang too.
Yusuf Islam.
Yes, that was his new name, correct?
Yeah, but he went back to
But
Cat Stevens because Yusuf Islam made him no money.
yeah, so Cat Stevens makes you money. So yeah, so that because there you are like
I
there
was
is-
born too late. I'll be the first one to admit. I was born on October 12, 1964.
You should have been born in the
1944.
50s or the 40s, right?
1940. So this way, by the time the 50s did roll
Yeah,
around,
you were right.
I'd be
But
in.
that's what I'm saying. I think that somebody died and you took his soul.
Is that what that smell is?
Reincarnated.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Stop. Really?
I do. What are you, 54?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, but you talk as if you're like in your 60s.
Because we've had this discussion
know.
too.
It
I
doesn't
hung
matter.
around
I don't
with
care.
older people.
But
during
guess
my,
what?
as my mother would say,
So did
during
I.
your formative years.
I was raised with my mother's brothers and sisters, my aunts and uncles.
About how old were they when you were a
Well,
young
my mother
little-
was
little
the
tiger?
oldest, and she was the oldest. My mother was, so
Okay.
they were all younger than her.
My
So-
parents, okay, let's just say, give me a young kid age.
10.
Okay, when I was 10, my mother was just shy of 50, and my father was in
Oh.
his mid, like 40,
Oh,
46.
that makes sense. That's right. That's right. Your parents were older.
Correct.
That's right. Because when I was a little kid and I was living with my grandmother and my aunts and uncles, my aunts and uncles were playing the Eagles, Carole King, Rolling Stones, like stuff like that. That's what I heard. My
Right.
grandmother would occasionally throw on her stuff. Like she loved Tom Jones,
Oh, my.
Johnny Mathis.
See, now my mother-in-law is
So-
a big Johnny Mathis.
Right.
Chances are.
But that's because of my grandmother. My grandmother had like Lou Rawls too, which is so funny.
You'll
but-
never find.
Yeah. So that I got a little taste of it, but the majority of my music influence was my Aunt Joan, who was who passed away from multiple sclerosis. But my Aunt Joan was a huge Eagles fan, loved the Eagles,
Right.
and loved Hall and Oates.
Wow.
So that was a big influence on me, the Eagles and Hall and Oates. And then my mom was a big Motown. She loved Motown. So that's where my influences came as far as that music. But prior to that, like the doo-wop stuff, I don't really know anything about that, and
Well,
you do. So that's interesting.
Get a
to me.
picture of this. I mean, when Bill Haley and the Comets started rock and roll, basically, or was part of that whole, the Genesis, Elvis Presley in like 1955, my mother would have been 30.
Yeah.
So she had already formed her musical
Tastes Right.
tastes and proclivities and what she
definitely.
liked. My father is he's 4 years younger. So he was in his mid-20s, and same thing. I mean, he had already, because you kind of begin to like what you begin to like when you're junior high and high school and like college age, late teens, early 20s. He's 25, she's damn near 30 in 1955. That's when they got married, by the way, August 6, 1955. Hotter than blue blazes
August
that day.
6th?
Yep,
It's the day after my birthday.
it is.
I wasn't born yet.
No,
No.
you have 14, 15 more years.
Yeah.
But they liked what they liked. So all growing up, here, to give you an idea, the soundtrack to My Fair Lady with Rex Harrison and Julie Andrews, my father would play that like nobody's business whenever he would be doing a project in the house, painting, paneling, papering.
Wasn't he Dr. Doolittle?
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the time, because now this is in the Writers Lane house before we moved when I was 5. So before I was 5, I could sing that whole thing from front to back to front, because that's all he played. It felt like when they had the hi-fi, not a stereo, the hi-fi. When they had the hi-fi on, it was FM 93, WPAT, Patterson. Beautiful music all day, all night. And it was the elevator orchestral music. I mean, but not really, like in Good Morning
Right.
Vietnam.
Right.
So you're talking about people like Percy Faith. Percy Faith is good. I mean, if I heard one Percy Faith selection, all my growing up, I must have heard 5,000 of them. You know, the Mantovani Orchestra.
I don't even know who that is.
It's not now because
yeah, no, I know
God
that.
of love, I don't want to hear that. But when you got a when you got a moment,
Yeah,
you
Well,
two,
I have
Percy
a
Faith, Mantovani Orchestra, and stuff like that. You know, musically, from a musicianship standpoint, okay, whatever, fine, good, but. I'm starting to get, now I'm starting to get 10, 11, 12 years old, and all I want to do is hear music radio, WABC and or WNBC, and he wasn't having any of it.
Wow.
So I hung around older people. Almost all my cousins, except two, as close as I had to siblings, were older than me.
That explains a lot.
Okay?
That explains a lot.
My parents would have dinner parties or card club over, and all of the folks were about their same age. Now, when I'm 6 and 7 years old, the Coopers, the Murphys, the Clancys, they've got kids who are in college. Okay? I mean, technically, if they really, wanted to push it, my parents had the dominoes fallen rather a different direction, could technically be my grandparents, albeit young grandparents for my age, but it could have happened.
Sure.
Okay, you get one of them born in 25 and the other one born in 29, and here I come along in 64. Could have, hypothetically, the numbers work.
Sure.
Okay, so there wasn't a whole lot. Now, my gravitation toward the early rock was part of my musical rebellion. Not a bad thing, but just I didn't want to listen to the freaking WPAT anymore. That's enough.
More.
I just didn't.
You went more.
More.
Totally did.
I just didn't. I was done with it,
Yeah.
And back then, it was WCBS Golden 101.
Oh.
Yeah.
For the golden years.
Exactly right. On CBS FM Golden 101. That's
Golden.
the Tokens and the Lion Sleeps Tonight. Okay, and they would play
Oh, I know that
all
song.
yeah. And I dug that, man. I'm like, oh man, and they would play the Coasters and the Platters and the Temps and the Tops and the Supremes. I'm like, this is pretty good.
Sugar pie, honey bunch.
Mm-hmm.
You know that I love you.
Can't help myself. I just can't.
help myself.
It's just you and nobody else.
I love
Just saying.
you and nobody else.
Yeah. I mean, good stuff. And this is where
Good stuff.
and even into the early 80s, again, before AM music radio died, which was in about 82 or 83, it was gone for good. ABC and NBC would still play Motown. I mean, like in morning drive,
Really?
not like weirdly on like Sunday nights. No, they play it smack dab in
Nice.
morning drive.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was. It was great. I mean, those were, you talk about some radio Camelot. I mean, that was kind of it. From a listener standpoint, you had it all. The only thing that kind of, I don't want to say stunk, but kind of stunk, it was on AM, and the only reason that stunk is because of the sound quality. Because you had the stereophonic stuff on FM, which is why that fakakta beautiful music I just mentioned to you sounded so good, because it was full and rich and stereophonic, quadraphonic stereo. Stop! Don't get me started. Okay, and then all of a sudden, all you had on FM was that public radio. Sorry, and and like the deep track, which is now classic rock. That I don't know.
I think classic rock is like 2000s now.
It kind of is.
See, because you know what I was thinking about? I don't know what I was listening to, and it was classic rock, and it was something from like 2001 or something, and I was thinking, is that classic rock? And I'm like, well, yeah, because it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's considered class. See, in my mind, classic rock is still like 70s. In my mind.
Oh, yeah.
But
Deep
it's
Purple,
not.
Smoke on the Water.
Right. So if that's classic rock, so if 2000s are classic rock to like the new millennial generation, what is that to them?
It's
ancient rock.
It's old fart rock.
Old fart rock.
I mean, when he was a little
rock.
tiger, I'm talking elementary school age. Jack and I would be road dogs. When Jamie was working at the Home Depot. Oh, I have to work this weekend and next weekend. Well, why don't you go to Jersey and see your mom and dad? You know what? Good idea. Take Jack with you. They love him. I was going to take him anyway. Of course I would. and we get in the car, and I would, again, have burned some CDs off of, ready, LimeWire. Remember that?
I remember LimeWire.
Ha! And Napster before that.
I remember Napster.
And I'd have burned some CDs with all kinds of
That was illegal.
the cops didn't see it. I didn't do it. I would burn all kinds of music that, is our stuff, my stuff.
Yeah.
And he's in the back singing along like no. Doobie Brothers, one of his favorite songs was Doobie Brothers, Listen to the Music. He loved it.
Oh, listen to the music.
Here's another one he used to love. Kiss, Lick It Up.
Oh, God.
He loved that song. He'd be like in second grade.
I had the 45 of, and it wasn't Doobie Brothers, it was Michael McDonald, because he went solo, and it was What a Fool Believes.
Mm-hmm.
That was and I remember not knowing that he was in the Doobie Brothers. I thought he was, because I don't.
Came from somewhere back in the long ago.
Yeah, that's what I remember. And that was like, I had this, like the 45 of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he was in a group called the Doobie Brothers. What is that?
That's number one this week in 1979. Now, back to the countdown.
It was. I remember hearing that. I was in 9th grade.
Let me see if I can pull it up. I want to hear that song. You think they'll block us? So now I figured out why they keep like silencing us on that
Tell me
show.
something. Talk to me. Why?
Because our Bugs Bunny, because it's owned by Warner Brothers.
Ah.
So that's why they keep. Now that's what they're blocking out. And I realized that because when we had regular music playing, that one show we kept playing music. Remember?
Yeah.
None of that got blocked out.
Really?
So I was like, what are they blocking out? And I realized what they block out is our theme.
Damn it.
Because but not on our podcast. Only on here. Facebook. It's a Facebook thing. It's not a. So the problem is on Facebook, you can't hear our theme song. But if you go to our podcast, which is available on Apple, Pandora, what else is it available on? Anyways, anywhere you can find a podcast, we're on there, on Real Town and John Tracy. If you go on there, you will hear the music. It's not.
So you can, ready? Listen to the music. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
See how we put that full circle, kids? Yeah. It's professional radio right here, folks. Just.
Oh wait, was it Doobie Brothers? I thought it was just Michael McDonald by himself.
No.
I was wrong?
Correct.
Oh, now you wait until I find out for myself?
Well, I wanted to make sure.
Let me see if I can hear this. Let's see. You want to make sure what? That I was right? Or that you were right?
That it came up the way it's coming up. Or it didn't.
I, for some reason, thought it was his solo.
No, What a Fool Believes. Look, he's got all dark hair, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have 2 copies of that album.
Yeah. What? No, I got it. I just can't hear it.
Oh, you playing it?
Yeah. I don't know. Is it something you got to adjust in there? Okay.
That's what she said.
Yeah. The volume's up. Turn it down? Okay.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Here we go. Gonna blow the speaker out.
I turned it down.
Now it's mute.
Never really was. She had a place in his life.
I got one that goes out.
He never made a thing twice. As she rises to her apology, anybody else would surely know. He's watching her go. What a fool believes. He sees the wise man has the power.
Almost had to grab the doodads for that one.
Yeah, no. Woo!
To believe is always there's a good thing.
Yeah. I just saw this and I'm excited.
And that's our number one hit for this week, January 15th, 1979. Till
Frank-
next time, keep your
Frank
head in the
shit
clouds
right
and
here.
keep your finger out of your nose. I'm
This
Casey
makes me just want to
Kasem.
go.
Bye, Skags, everybody. Give us a call on the Rock and Roll Bone phone, 374-9700, 286-8400. Get on the
Yeah.
phone, get on the line.
This is the jam right here.
Yeah.
I like me some Boss Gags.
You know, back then I was not a fan because they beat it and beat it
Oh, they
and beat
do.
it and beat it. There was
Agreed.
another one from Lido Shuffle, and they
That
beat
is the same
they
album.
beat that
Same
thing.
album. He had like 5 hits off this album.
Oh,
and
it's
what's
great.
weird is like I
It was
don't remember him.
1976. I was just starting 7th grade, and they beat that thing like a pack mule, especially the one I just mentioned. What was it? The Lido Shuffle. You know, and there was a guy I went to school with whose name was DeLeo. I still am friends with him. I used to go, DeLeo, whoa, and he didn't appreciate it.
Before the show, Lido's waiting
But
for
yeah, but now,
the
Boss
call.
Skaggs, all these years later, whether it's that or other things that I now am enjoying of his, when he was on live from Daryl's house,
Yes.
fantastic.
I love
Just,
Live from
I
Daryl's
enjoy
house.
that so much.
I love Live from.
Used to be on Channel 11 at like 11:30 on Saturdays. There we go.
You're gonna make a face like this when you're like,
He left the shack.
oh,
He
ain't coming back.
Yeah, 1976, man. Tell you what,
That's some nice stuff right here, boy.
43 years ago. Can you dig it?
Woo! It's a party up in here, Ruben. Yeah.
Thank you, Rube.
Ooh.
But this is the
like,
kind of
look,
stuff that I would
Let's
burn
put
on
some
a
steak
CD.
on this.
Yeah, you gotta have the rock face. There was always that guy in the garage band the kid had down the street, you know, and the guy was like a little older and he played guitar and he would always be like,
Oh yeah, I did it. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
always
Then you do
that.
the mountain goat.
Yeah,
And then you go back to back.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you go
Like you're angry at each other. Stop. There was always that one guy with the face.
There's a. I wish I had the. Do I have video of it? I don't. I only have pictures. But I did a performance when I was a vocal teacher, and I worked at a school in Massachusetts, and we had a teachers band, and I was the lead singer. And the owner of the school was the lead guitarist, and he was the husband of a good friend of mine. And we performed together, and I know they have the video, but I only have pictures. But it's almost crazy because I sang Van Halen.
Oh my.
And it was Hot for Teacher, which is, it's what they wanted me to do, so I do whatever they tell me to do. But I
think the
practiced
clock
that.
is slow.
I practiced the shit out of that song, let me tell you. So to make
I don't
sure
feel
that.
tardy.
So then I was up on the stage, and he had the big solo part, the
Yeah.
big solo part, and I did the whole thing. I was like, all the faces.
Yeah.
I was licking the guitar. I was down on my knees, like doing all that, and he was like jamming. It was like a real
Class
rock show, man.
dismissed.
It was. It was like a real.
Wow.
Yeah, I had the whole thing down. I had the whole thing
Telling
down,
you.
and I practiced in my car. I would drive to work, and I would sing it all the way to work and all the way home. So I knew all the words. Not that I didn't know all the words, but I really had to know the words. I
you
couldn't
had
really
them
fake
tattooed
it.
in your brain.
Yeah, and because I didn't want to say cannonball instead of Panama. I didn't want to do that.
Who would do that?
So yeah. So I sang that whole thing and all the expressions like David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
The expressions he would have. Because when he would have, at the talking part,
Yeah.
The clock is
Slow.
slow. Like
I
that.
don't feel tardy.
I don't feel tardy. Class
Dismissed.
dismissed. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah. I had the.
Oh, I wonder what the teacher's going to look like this
this
year.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Whoa! Yeah, I did the whole thing. And they wanted me to. They were like, "Can you do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
it."
Hello.
So I did that, and then we did a show at the beach, and that's when I did "What's Up." And that was the first time I did
Right.
that live, actually.
For non-blinds.
Yeah, before I did all karaoke, and that was the song they actually picked for me again. And they said,
Nice.
"Can you do this?" And then that kind of stuck. And I did that at
1993.
Salisbury Beach in Massachusetts. But yeah, but it's so funny because when you're there and you're in the moment, it's very strange because you start doing those weird faces and those weird expressions.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if it's a predetermined face.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I think it is.
What is it?
Because I've seen I've been involved in singing in dopey little bands through the years.
Yep.
And I've seen some videos, some very embarrassing video. The audio wasn't bad. I mean, all my bandmates, it put us all together and it all worked. But man, I think and I find myself once in a while when I'm into it, again, in the car, listening. There it is. Oh, man. You contort your face, mostly your mouth, so it comes out sounding as properly as can be. Note my words, as properly as can be, because I am not going to sound like Diamond David Lee. I am not.
No one is.
I might get close, but it ain't going to be anywhere spot on. But this kind of stuff, this is the kind of stuff, Tracy, that I would burn CDs of. And Jack would be in the back seat, 7, 8 years old, okay, and just singing along and air guitaring a little bit here and there. I'm like, in the rearview mirror, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm enjoying the music, Dad. I'm like, all right, my man.
This is the jam. Imagine.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I got to show you some pics. I have pics.
I got to see. All right.
Oh, I love it. Wow, man. Wait a second, man.
See, the teacher's going to look like this year.
Oh.
Ooh,
yeah.
Yeah, we never did any VH in the band. Just the vocals, I couldn't do it, and all that ripping like Eddie does. Nobody could come close. So like, okay, we're not going to do that.
Mike was good on the guitar. He actually sounded. Eddie Van Halen is like his hero, so he could do all his riffs exactly like him. So this was a great performance. I thought. I mean, he did such a good job.
This was the harmonies.
Got it made, got it made, got it made. I'm hot for teacher.
And none of them could dance. None of them.
Remember they did that?
Yeah, none of them. It took many, many takes to get it as good as it got. And really, if you look at this video, the dancing, the band guys,
Yeah.
Is, other than Diamond Davey, they're not good.
No, they're not. They're not.
This was right in the heart of my college days, 1984. I would have been a sophomore, end of my sophomore year, and then the beginning of my junior year. It was right in the wheelhouse, man. So this is all the kind of things that I used to burn CDs of, and we do these road trips, man. And
like
sometimes,
14
the three of us or the four of us would go, and I put it in, and it would be Jack and I ripping and tearing and carrying on. And after about 20 minutes, it'd be like, okay, that's enough, take it out. That's the one. Did this in the college band too.
This is what we need to do
Yes.
when we karaoke. Like you and me, we have to do it. We really have to do it.
I agree.
Like the next karaoke. But they do karaoke down the street too on Wednesday nights.
Yes. Well,
saying.
Wednesday night we're kind of busy.
After. It's at
What
Wednesday
time?
night.
What time?
I think it starts at like 9 at night.
That's
It's
a late one, man.
Well,
I
you'd have to
hate
wait.
that.
I know, that's what it is.
Baby, you come knocking on my front door.
Stevie. That's Andy's favorite.
Oh, Andy loves Stevie Nicks. Oh my God! On his birthday, I sent him like a Stevie Nicks card on his Facebook.
Nice.
Yeah, because he loves.
So you have a little trouble in town.
It's too bad he's dead.
Yes, it is
Too
very
bad.
bad. Totally unnecessary too, by the way.
Stop dragging my heart around.
We totally had karaoke.
1981, by the way, off the Belladonna.
81, man. I was a baby. See, I don't know the second verse. I only know first verse, so I gotta learn it. What's karaoke? The words usually come up, but
They do.
I mean, I know the tune. I just, You know the words, and I know the chorus. Here we go.
I know you really want to tell me goodbye. I know you really want to be your own girl.
Baby, you can never look me in the eyes. Yeah, you back away the way of the world. Stop dragging my heart around.
Oh, we totally have to do that. Are we gonna do that karaoke?
We're on it. I don't know when,
We have
but
to
we're
do
on
it.
it.
I wish they had
Come
the
on
live
down.
band karaoke.
We'll
What's
let
up
you.
with that?
Hey,
So
we'll have
fun.
to. You know what? Here, let's tentatively maybe earmark Sunday, June 9th, over at the Friendlies,
You want to do it?
right over here on Route 33
Are
in
you wanna do
Hamilton. Again, tentatively, let's earmark that.
Are we gonna practice? Remember, we were practicing at our desks at work when we were gonna go karaoke.
Yes,
And we used to sit
I
next
was
to each
practicing
other.
at home.
You're practicing at home too.
Oh my gosh!
Oh
yes.
my God, we used to.
Drove her nuts.
I think I was
What are you
down.
doing?
Instead of like working, I was downloading songs, going, "I'm gonna sing this song."
I was with the previous talent, and she couldn't carry a tune in a 50-foot dumpster.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Melissa,
Oh. Yeah.
wonderful person, but she. Oh, please, sweetie, don't sing. Just shh, don't.
Don't do it.
He'd be in the car. I'm like, you know who sings this? Well, yeah, it's Stevie Nicks. Yeah, why don't you let her sing
Let her
it?
sing it, please.
And every time what did you do with the money? What money that your mom obviously didn't
Buy you
put
a
toward
voice.
singing lessons? She goes, oh, I'm like,
There's
"What?"
another good
She
one.
goes, I know, I just can't carry a tune. She could not. Leather and Lace. It's Don Henley.
Impossible to follow.
What? She's lying on bed.
She looks like she could be Maureen Lynch's, the Jersey Shore Angels sister,
Oh yeah.
like a relative. I can't do Don Henley quietly. I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
I can't. He's high. I have to. It's got to be louder. I'm not going to do it loud here.
I want you to.
Nope, can't do it. I have
I'm
not
waiting for
rehearsed.
you.
I don't know them.
At the door.
Here we go. It's you. Oh,
It's
yet.
not.
Shoot. Damn it. Damn it. I messed that up. Up.
These are all great, though. This is like
That's
senior
the
in
great-
high school.
I love it.
81, 82.
Living forever.
Oh, you don't need to be loud.
Face to face.
But I don't recall the words either.
City or mountain.
My friend had a
Stay
girlfriend.
with me, stay.
You do know this.
Because a friend of mine in college, this was his and his girlfriend's song. Her name was Stacy, and he used to say, "Stay with me, Stace."
Oh, jeez.
Get it? Okay, we're 17.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
You
I love that.
in the
We're gonna pick our
moonlight,
karaoke songs.
you with your
They had
sleeping
some interesting series finales this past weekend.
I heard that the GOT was BAD.
That was it? Well, who told you? Who told you that? Was that Rob Winter?
I was most disappointed. It was not the rousing success I had hoped for.
Did he really say that? Or are you making
No,
it
I'm
up?
just
Because it
making it up.
sounds like something he would say.
I know. That's why.
Oh.
That's part of the thing. It's not only the voice and what's the word? Not timbre, but the progression. It's the verbiage.
Stacy's mom is going to go now. Stacy's mom.
Imran Khan lives with his dad and mom. No. Hansi from the Stern Show. Remember that?
Yes. Oh my God, that's so funny.
That's the best parody song ever.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that.
No. Listen to me. Oh, whatever.
Oh my
He's from Toronto.
Was
Oh,
he?
He is.
Oh.
Hansi. Hansi, you're on the air from Toronto.
I didn't know. I can't. Why didn't I remember that? I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know.
Great
what's
stuff.
wrong
I
with me
listened to a whole epic of that out to Pennsylvania over the weekend, and that guy's got problems, man. I tell you what, Hansi, they call it from Toronto. Sunday on Game of Thrones.
This is the jam right here.
What's that?
This is the jam.
So, are you a Game of Thrones aficionado, or you're?
Oh, I'm playing my violin.
Oh, come on.
So amazing.
Getting kind of
Isn't this
late.
amazing? So powerful.
Yeah.
You're like going like this to the gods. You're like this. This is what you're doing like in the sky. And you're like,
Okay, including how far into the song is this?
It's the beginning.
Well, how far in is it?
It's the beginning.
How,
I don't know.
including the 43 seconds, I'm sorry, including that 5 seconds of this, I have only watched 51 seconds of Game of Thrones in my life. I'm that guy.
Okay, well, you know what? This is what I'm going to say about Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of people who haven't seen it, and it's kind of funny because there was so much hype. It was all over social media, and so many people were saying, there was like this thing, this meme or something that was going, I'm one of the so many people that have never watched a second of Game of Thrones.
Right here.
I think that was on there. You
Right
saw
here.
it. I think you
And
may have posted that.
I
don't
have
know.
posted that, man.
Yeah, and other people have. The thing about this is the thing. You know, I'm a fantasy type. I'm a Star Wars person. I'm a science fiction person. I go to the Comic Cons. I'm that person.
I
Like I
understand.
am that person.
Again,
So,
do what you like what you do.
Right.
Have fun.
Now, Game of Thrones. This is the thing. It is probably one of the most brilliant shows that I think has ever been created on the planet because
when is it set? What time period?
well, it's like a fantasy. So technically,
If you had to peg
it's
it.
supposed to be like King Arthur days, like that.
And yet they have water bottles on the set.
Well, that was an error on
course
that.
it
That was,
happened.
and they never. That's like whatever. It is what it is. I think it was near the end, so they were just
They did.
rushing to get it
Yeah,
done,
yeah.
which was part of my problem with
Finish
the
it up.
finale. But other than that, but the thing about it is, it's very, very layered. Extremely deep. There's so many different facets, and it's just a very difficult show to follow if you haven't followed it from the beginning through every single episode.
Right.
It's very difficult.
I've understood
And
that.
I had to, when I started watching it, I don't think I started watching it until like the third season.
Oh.
I had to go back and watch 1 and 2. And then, I had to go back and forth. I actually rented at the time the DVDs so I could catch up because I didn't understand what the hell was going on. Like, I was like, well, this looks pretty cool because I like that kind of stuff. But I don't know what the hell is going on. Who
Oh.
are these people? Who's related to who? Who's Cersei? Who's the? I didn't know anything. So I realized that if you are a person who like gets caught up in the hype and you're like, oh, I hear this is good, let me start watching it. That's the biggest mistake you could make.
Right.
Because there's like seven cities or per se, you know what I mean, like the 7 lands, and there's all these families. There's 4 main families. There's the Lannisters, and there's all these, and there's a woman with dragons. I mean, there's so much that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
If you come in the middle of it, like season 2, season 3, whatever, you're seriously not going to know what the hell's going on.
Well, and that's not completely unlike what happened to me with The Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
When The Sopranos came out, I'm like, oh, I have to see this. Well, I couldn't tell you when it was. It came out early 2000s, I guess,
Right.
and we didn't have HBO, so I wasn't seeing it. So every once in a while, whether it was I was going away on business or we were going away, we were at somebody's place who had HBO, I'd check it out, and I enjoyed it to a point. Because like this, you could tell that there were all these stories and sub-stories, plots and subplots and da-da-da-da.
Right.
Okay, the thing that I found, again, I was out in central Pennsylvania. The thing I found interesting is a lot of the places I kind of knew, if not knew, where they were. Okay?
Right.
It was interesting to me to, it's only 100 and some odd miles away, but it may as well have been 1,000 because I didn't always get back to Jersey. I didn't get home a lot back then. Finally, I forget when it was, and again, it doesn't matter. It might have been after they took that few year break between, I think, what was it, season 4 and season 5?
Well, they always take very long breaks.
Well,
yeah.
this one was inordinately
this was like a
long.
year. This was like a year ago that it took a year for them to come back with this. So that's
The Sopranos, I think, was
Yeah.
off for damn near 2 years, if
Mm-hmm.
I don't miss my mark on that. And in between, and I can't tell you how, but I was able to somehow watch and catch up because we had a TV package that included, I think, HBO and all that business, and they had, because there was no new Sopranos, they were playing the heck out of the old ones. So I got to catch up. I'm like, that's why Uncle Junior's like that. Oh, well, that's why that mother's kind of bitchy and just Tony's mom. You
Right.
know, oh, I
Oh,
get
yeah,
it,
she
okay,
was-
and oh, okay, I get it, and all of a sudden the dominoes just fell into place until they came back with the final. I guess it was only at that point just a few seasons, and then the thing was done. Just a few more seasons. I think they came back in either '05 or '06. Doesn't matter, but after
Right.
a couple
But
years,
did you watch it? Did you
I
watch
did.
it all?
Oh yeah,
And what did you think?
I loved it.
Right.
I absolutely, and that's okay for that genre of program like Game of Thrones that you gravitate to. The Sopranos genre of movies, shows, entertainment is what I gravitate
Well,
to.
let me clarify. I love The Sopranos, and I actually watched The Sopranos in live, like from the beginning to end.
Nice.
And I'm a huge fan of The Godfather. Probably one of my favorite films is Godfather
too.
1 and Godfather 2.
Yeah.
I love the Goodfellas, Casino. So I do.
I even love
that
3.
stuff.
I got to tell
Yeah,
you,
some
people
of 3, yeah.
people are like, hey, 3 sucks. Well, to you,
Compared
it
to 1 and
does.
2.
Well, yes, it's
But it's the weakest of the 3.
it is the weakest,
but it
I
is a
do
closure.
like it.
Yeah, it is a
Right.
closure. So yeah, I agree with
And
you.
even speaking of closure, at the very end of The Sopranos, there at Holston's in Bloomfield. I know Holston's in Bloomfield.
Mm-hmm.
That's an actual place.
Well, everybody hated that season finale. I mean, that series finale for Sopranos. Everybody hated it.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the I should say now problem. They closed it, in my opinion. I could be wrong, and if so, first time this year. What are you going to do? They closed it how they did, just going to black, in my opinion. So they could, and they're doing it, but they had to rejig the whole thing now, so they could come back and do either another series
Well, you know they're
down
doing
the
it now.
road or
Right.
a movie.
Well, they're doing it now.
They're doing it now.
Right.
They had to rejig it because of James Gandolfini
Well, his son is playing.
passing. Right.
Right.
So it's kind of a look back, I guess.
Right.
To when Tony was younger and what with Gandolfini's son playing
It's
that
such a
part.
shame that he died too. 'Cause
It's
I
a
love
very
James
big shame.
Gandolfini.
I liked it. He was in.
He did a few films. He did.
Oh come on, with Gene Hackman and Denzel in the submarine.
It was a Hacksaw, not Hacksaw Ridge. Oh,
Not Hunt for Red October either. It's
no, it's okay. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, nerds.
He was also in the movie with Patricia Arquette and Christian Slater. He was in that film too. See, look, I feel like we're getting old because none of us can remember any of the. Let me see.
Hey, my mind just sounded this day I was 16 years old, knock on wood. Hang on, I got to get the door. It's a joke. Thank you.
It's gonna drive me. I know what movie you're talking about
Yeah.
because I've seen it.
Yeah. Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh, for corn's sake, isn't that awful?
Mm.
Help me. 609-807-2492.
No.
Yes, we need a caller. 609-807-2492. If you know the movie, and even if you don't,
Well,
call us.
'cause I'm gonna find before somebody calls. I'm gonna find it,
807,
'cause it's
will
gonna
you?
be- make me
2492. That's
So
609.
the movie though, it actually just came to me. I didn't have to look it up.
Go ahead.
True Romance with Christopher Walken, Patricia Arquette, and Christian Slater. James Gandolfini is in that as well.
What did he have? More cowbell.
More cowbell.
I got a fever.
I got a fever,
And the only cure.
and the only cure is more cowbell.
Oh.
He's in The Mexican.
Radio.
Zero Dark 30. There's True Romance. The Last Castle.
I got nothing.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of. The Last
No.
Castle. You weren't thinking of that?
No.
Oh snap!
Word.
Hold the phone.
Hold the
Hold the
phone.
phone.
Oh, what the heck
I thought
is
you were
that?
talking about The Last Castle. That's the one I know him
No,
from.
no. Gene Hackman is the submarine captain. Denzel is the executive officer, and James Gandolfini is part of the, shall we say, primary ensemble support cast. Okay, he's not a main star, but he's
Okay.
he's fairly prominent in the movie.
Here we go. So, Zero Dark 30. Non fade away. Killing them some. Went down the shore. I mean, look at all this stuff. I don't know all this stuff. Okay, where the wild things are. He was a voice. The Sopranos. All the King's Men. Like
There's the Mexican.
the Mexican. Why can't I? The Last Castle. That's the one I was thinking of.
New.
The Mexican. Civil Action. The Mighty. Fallen the Midnight. Where can I find it? 12 Angry. No. She's a,
Crimson Tide. There it is.
Crimson Tide. That's it.
Yep.
Holy smokes!
That's the one.
There's True Romance. That's what I was thinking of.
I mean, he was busy. I mean, literally, folks, she's scrolling up and scrolling up and
I'm
scrolling
like,
up
why
to
can't I- like,
go
there's so
back to
many
Crimson
things.
Tide. I mean, he
I
was a
couldn't even
busy
think of
guy.
that. He was in Terminal Velocity. I forgot he was in that too.
The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 again with Denzel.
Yeah. Oh, Jamesy.
That was the second. That was the remake, by the way.
Jamesy, why? Why did you have to go and die on me? I need you. I miss him already. James.
Nuts.
But his son is
So yeah,
He's playing-
in my opinion,
That's
they ended The Sopranos how they did, fading or not fading, or just
It's been
going
20
to black.
years since The Sopranos first aired.
Yeah.
I feel ancient. 20 years? How is that even possible?
1999.
That's insane.
It's Captain Insano.
20 years? Like,
Yeah. 99.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, that's sad. So yeah, now they're doing one
99 says
with his
Luftballons,
son, right?
Yep.
And that's just
I
sad.
again, I firmly believe that they went to black at the very end of that so they could continue it in some way, shape, manner, or form later.
I think they were just trying to make you come up with your own conclusions,
I
like whether
believe
he was
that,
getting
too.
killed or not.
I believe that
You know what I
too.
mean? Kind of leave it like, did he get shot or didn't he? Because it looked like he was about to get assassinated.
Yeah, he
the way
was. They're going to get whacked. The whole mess
family,
of them.
right?
Don't
just-
stop believing.
I don't think I like that they played that song though. But it was on like a jukebox at
It
that
was.
thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Whatever. It's
I-
funny because someone made a joke about Game of Thrones and said that at the end they should have played "Don't Stop Believing." So
that would have been funny.
that's. But
I'm one of the few who had very little issue with the ending of that. I really didn't. I'm
No,
like,
I thought I was all right with it.
But I enjoyed the once I caught up and was able to follow along the various plots, subplots, and layers. I'm like, oh man, this is great.
yeah, it's a great show. Well, Game of Thrones. The thing about it too, the finale, the last show. I was a little pissy because what they did is they crammed, into like 6 episodes. They crammed everything, which
Oh.
is, I mean, that show is so layered. I don't know how they just kind of did that, and I think there was a lot of rush there to get it over with, which would explain all the editing issues and the the continuity issues,
Yes.
which is film talk. So,
And the
but
placement of 21st century objects
that would
on
be a
set.
continuity. That would be continuity. So continuity. Their job is to make sure things that were there before aren't there. You know what I mean? So to
Right.
paper, they make sure the clothes if it's like this, and then they got to make sure it's like that again. And it's not like that.
Right.
So that's a continuity. So that's what that issue is. But it was just everything was packed into that short amount of time, and I felt I don't like the way they got rid of Daenerys so quickly. I was like, can I get a moment of just enjoying something here? Like, it just was very, very rushed. And I wasn't happy with that. And I love that show. So I wasn't too pleased with that. But you don't watch it, so really,
I'm sorry.
But then there was another series finale.
And here's the thing: I don't clown on people who do, because you know what? Again, if you like it, you like it.
Right,
I
yeah.
just that's the. Maybe had I started at some point, that's another one. If I had started, I might have enjoyed it, but I didn't.
It's over.
This is another one I never got into.
I like the theme song, though.
Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah.
It's all been done.
They're Canadian. There's the Big Bang Theory. That's over now too.
Yeah.
So that had that series finale, and that is true. I see. My thing is this: I love stuff on HBO. Amazon Prime, like anything that's like gritty and filthy and full of swear words and sex and anything that's crazy like that is what I like.
You know what was one of my favorite shows? This is going back now about 10 years or more. But it was in the very early days of FX network, The Shield. I loved.
Oh, people love The Shield. Yeah, and that was gritty.
I was
It was
so
gritty.
upset when they were like, "Okay,
And
this
I
is
love
it." I'm like,
him. I love him.
"What?"
Actually, I think we follow each other on Twitter.
Michael Chiklis.
Yeah, he's from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Huge Boston fan. So I think we
commish.
follow each other on Twitter. I like him very much.
Remember on ABC?
I remember the commission.
Sunday night on
Yep.
The Commish.
The commish. But yeah, it just I like gritty. And the thing is, situation comedies or like primetime comedies, honestly, I can count on one hand how many I actually really like. And I never got into Big Bang Theory. And I'll tell
I
you
didn't
something,
either.
I tried. And it's that whole thing, that humor, like what you laugh at, other people may not laugh at, or how unique humor is, what you
Yep.
think is funny, that kind of thing.
Subjective. It's very subjective.
Exactly. And with Big Bang Theory, everybody said to me, you need to watch it. It's so funny. Now, it's the same Chuck Lorre who also did
Men,
Correct.
manly men.
who I also did not find that funny.
I run hot and cold on that show. I mean, I have to really be in the mood and then I'll watch
Yeah, I
it.
never found it funny.
The
And
ones,
it's not my humor.
the one there's two of them now, one current and about to end, and one that's off but in reruns. I like the writing on Modern Family.
Modern Family is good.
I mean, again,
It's good. Yeah.
the writing sometimes really cracks me. I mean, you got to listen.
Yeah.
And a third, of course, been on for years. The Simpsons. Again, the
Well,
writing.
I don't even carry
the
the
writing.
Simpsons because the Simpsons are like iconic.
Right.
To me, the Simpsons are above a
Right.
little
But
bit
the
above.
other one is The Office.
Love The Office.
Okay. Again, the writing.
I'm with The Office.
It can come off.
Good
as-
writing and good ensemble. I
Okay.
say it in a French way. Ensemble
Ensemble.
cast.
Right.
That's why I'm a huge Friends. I love Friends. There's
I love-
nothing about Friends I don't like.
I-
Nothing.
and I do like Friends.
Love
you know
Friends.
what? I got so much of it when it was on. I'm like, I
Oh, no.
had to step away.
I watch
for a
it every
while.
night, and I've been watching it every night for
See,
20
that's how
years.
I am with MASH. Okay, same thing. Okay,
It's
MASH.
because of the
Now,
ensemble cast.
right now, going back to here's another one. Okay,
Jerry,
and they're Seinfeld, but
Seinfeld,
they're going further back.
Yeah.
There's another, actually two, and they're going to do them tonight. And I'm reticent if I want to see 'em.
Jeffersons and
And
Chewbacca.
All in the
that's tonight.
Family and the Jeffersons.
saw
The
that.
original All in the Family. Again, you couldn't do exactly that now, and I'm interested to see how they're going to do it.
I'm
But
interested too.
But the writing was
It's all about the writing. Norman
brilliant,
Lear.
and the cast that they melded in there was just absolutely, it worked. They caught lightning in a jug. Same thing even with the Jeffersons. Sometimes the spin-offs are not so good, but the Jeffersons was
a
good.
good spinoff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, lightning in a jug. Just like with Cheers, again, the writing on
Cheers,
that show
great.
is fantastic.
Love Cheers.
Okay.
Love Cheers. Still love Cheers.
Ring ring. Hello, Cheers. Hold on. Hey, is there an Ernie Pantuso here? Coach, that's you. Oh, right. Hello.
I love Coach. I was, you know what I have to say, I didn't like when
the spin-off of
Frasier was
Frasier.
very
That
good
worked.
too.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy about. I love Cheers, but I always liked Shelley Long, and when she left and Kirstie Alley took over, it kind of lost me a little bit. I was kind of out of that.
It didn't shine quite as brightly, but I have to tell you, I stuck with it because
did, yeah.
I just enjoyed the show.
It's a great
This
show.
was one that I would sit there, and there's not many that I do this with, even though I'm a fun, like to be funny guy. This was one that every week, Thursday night, watching Cheers at 9 o'clock on NBC, must-see TV, I would laugh out loud probably at least a half a dozen times. And not gratuitously, I would do it because, to me, it was funny. I'd sit with whomever I would sit with. I'd sit with number one when we were still married, and she'd sit there, nothing. Again, subjective.
Right.
Subjective.
Right.
But there was just so much. I just didn't get how you couldn't crack one grin in
Yeah, Cheers was funny.
22
Yeah,
minutes worth of stuff over a half an hour. Well written. But
Well written. Again,
That's the whole thing.
cast, It has to be a good cast.
It
has to be
all
well written.
melded.
You take something out of there,
Oh.
you got nothing.
Well, and here again, just like with James Gandolfini, now the show was done, but Nicholas Colasanto, who played Coach / Ernie Pantuso in the early days of Cheers, he passed away. He passed away
And
mid-series.
then Woody took over.
Woody Harrelson, welcome to the world, Woody Harrelson. You know, Woody Boyd was his
Correct.
character name.
And he was great.
He was fantastic.
I liked him. Yeah.
He was as dopey as Coach, but a different kind of dopey, and you loved them both.
Yeah, he was
You'd
good, and he
love
was
them both.
different. I like that they didn't try to do something the same as Coach. They
Right.
went completely different, and that was smart.
But he
if
was
they
still
ch-
dopey like Coach
He was so so dopey. I still remember he was dating a girl named Kelly,
Kaylee,
and then he
Kelly,
had
Kelly, Kelly,
yeah, and he had a
Kelly,
guitar,
Kelly,
and he said, "I
Kelly,
wrote a
Kelly,
song for you," and he had this
Kelly,
Kelly, Kelly, Kelly, Kelly, Kelly, Kelly. Yeah,
Why?
It's such a good show. But yeah, that's for me, like I said, it's like situation comedies. I can count them on one hand. The
Right.
ones that I make me laugh and I don't stop. I can watch on. It'll come on TV and I can watch and I'll watch it, even
Yeah.
though I've seen the episode like 20 times.
Yep.
I've literally watched Friends a million times. I've watched Seinfeld a million
Seinfeld's one,
times.
again, Modern
Simpsons,
Family,
sure,
MASH, and The Office are my big
great,
four right
great,
now.
Yeah, and but I never could get into Big Bang Theory.
No.
And I tried. I
And
really did.
You want to know
I
why?
tried.
To me, okay, and I did watch some. I will say I did.
I did too.
And I got the humor, and I got the the factor, so to speak. But it comes off as like cerebral humor.
Almost forced a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like this highbrow cerebral humor.
Mm.
Now I'm no stoop. Okay, I am not. I am not some dunderhead. There's a word we
No.
don't use. Okay, but I mean, and I've
made
got
it
a
up.
pretty healthy IQ. It's about 130 last I checked. So I'm not brilliant. I'm not Utant or somebody Einstein, but it's 130. It ain't 100. Okay, it's not that I don't get it, because I do get it with the Big Bang Theory. I understand it. I get it, but it's just. No, it just doesn't sizzle for me.
Yeah, I just never did. And like I said, I had three. What's it called? I was gonna say 3 Men and a Baby. With Charlie Sheen, 3 Men and a Baby. What was it called?
2.5 Men.
2.5 Men, 3 Men and a Baby. Yeah, I never. Same thing. I just couldn't. It just didn't.
See, sometimes that'll hit me, and other times I'll be like, okay, next.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird, but yeah, but Big Bang Theory was like the #1 comedy. Everyone loved it. Everybody thought it was funny. I just thought it wasn't for me.
I don't disrespect the show.
No,
I don't.
great.
It's not
Not
my
for me.
cup of tea. It just is not.
No.
Okay.
And I still, like I said, I watch Friends. I actually have a Friends T-shirt I wear to bed. Like I have a problem. I have a Friends beach towel. The show's been over for like 20 years, and I have all those things. Something's wrong with me. Like I'll tell you how screwed up I am about Friends. This is how crazy it is. None of the friends look the same. They're all older. Like they're all older people.
Right.
Like Ross, they're all older people, right? The actors are older.
How you
They don't look
doing?
anything like they did, or they look like older versions of themselves.
Right.
Joey looks like he looks like old
Older
Joey.
version of himself. He's all gray now.
But in my head, I can't. When I see something with them as older, like I see a talk show, and
He's got,
Matt LeBlanc is on, who played
he's
Joey.
He's got Man with a Plan now, Matt LeBlanc.
Right. So he was on.
I
I just
kinda like
recently.
that show,
Yeah, I
kinda.
like him. So he was on the show, and I was watching it. It was Jimmy Fallon, I think, and I was like, "What? I want Joey.
Yeah.
I don't want that guy. I want Joey. Like
Right.
I really have
Right.
that. I think the only person I can kind of get the grips with is Jennifer Aniston, because you've watched her grow old. Like you've watched her get, and she looks the same to me. She looks fantastic, that woman.
She is. She's a gorgeous person. She's
But
very
like
beautiful.
Ross, like I want to marry Ross, but I don't think I want to marry Ross now. I want to marry Ross from 20 years ago.
Do you know what's
the problem?
I know exactly what you mean. Back, I'm going to say,
Crazy.
88, 89. I had already graduated, but was living close by where I went to college, and the entertainment committee, whatever the hell it's called, they had Larry Linville come in. Larry Linville played Frank Burns on MASH. Okay, same church, different pew. I cannot, and that was why he left the show after, I think, 5 or 6 years, because
Oh, that's right, he did.
he did, because it was starting even with him to become quite apparent that he will then and now and always be Frank Burns.
Yes.
And nothing else.
Typecasting.
Exactly.
Well, I think James Gandolfini suffered from that as well, because it
bit.
was very hard to watch him in things after Sopranos and not say, "Oh, look, there's Tony
Tony.
Soprano."
He even said,
He even said it.
He said, I had to leave. I didn't want to. I loved the show. I loved everybody on it, but I had to go for my career, because he was Oxford trained. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I did know that actually.
Yeah, and he's really quite a nice guy. The only thing that he has, Larry Linville, or had, I think he passed, the only thing he had in common with Frank Burns is that little laugh, like, that he used to do.
Yes, I
Because
remember
that's his laugh, okay? Other than that, he is the anti-Frank Burns, because I went up to the stage and talked with him after he did his little presentation and showed what he thought was his favorite MASH episode. And he was really great. But that was the thing.
Yeah.
It was,
It's-
just like, I want Joey from Friends.
Yeah.
He's not Joey anymore.
No, he's not Joey.
But he's Joey.
See, but you
I
know
want
what?
Frank Burns.
To me,
I don't want
that
this guy in a
means-
Love Boat. I
Ye-
want Frank Burns. No, he's Frank
That
Burns.
means they did their job.
Yeah.
Because if they're typecast, if they're pigeonholed into that character, it's because you really truly believe they're that character. So
yeah.
it's a blessing and a curse
Yeah.
at the same time.
I think that happens more in TV than it does with movies. Like, for example,
agree.
Forrest Gump, and we're running up
Yeah,
on time here.
I know
but
we are,
Forrest
but-
Gump, I don't see Tom Hanks. I see Forrest freaking Gump.
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay,
love Tom
and I know
Hanks.
Tom Hanks is the actor, but so forth.
Such a good,
I get it.
because that's why he won the Oscar.
He was fantastic.
Something I want to mention before we go off the air. In my community in Robbinsville, again, more tragedy. I don't know what's going on, but we had a terrible fire
Oh, I saw that the other
burnt
day.
down a large part of our community in Foxmore. So there are donations to be given. They lost. Luckily, nobody lost their lives, but they lost all of their possessions. They have no clothes. They have all their stuff is gone. And it was a very, very big fire. So I'll post on the Real Town website the link to donate for the fire of my town.
Yes.
Because I want to. I have a great town. Robbinsville is a very, very, very close knit community. And we just suffered with Samantha with her murder, and now we have a fire and just a lot of tragedy. So I'll post that link on our website. So I did want to say that.
Well, and that's a good thing to say that. I mean, because out of the dark comes lots of good things.
Yep.
And whether it's an unfortunate instance, an unfortunate happening with Samantha, or I saw pictures of that very
terrible.
bad fire.
Yeah.
So good that nobody was hurt.
It was
or
in the
worse.
same. It's the same development as where Silvana lived.
Right.
It was like at the next building over.
Exactly right.
So yeah.
And silver lining, everybody's fine. So that's good. And you're fine too.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking
Thank
us
you for
out.
staying with us
No doubt.
for an hour and a half.
Hey, let's do it. It's a little after 7:00.
Yeah.
We're back next week. So
Yay.
until then, keep it real out in the
And keep reaching for the stars.
And
Oh, sorry.
keep reaching for the stars and keep your feet on the ground.
Be cool, have fun. Here's the father of me. Have fun, be careful this
You
weekend.
think they'll play our theme song out?
I don't know.
Okay.
Rube, we got the theme song coming out?
He's talking. He's busy.
It's a big question.
He's not
mark.
even paying attention.
Well, at any rate, that's all of it for tonight. We'll see you next time.
on
Tracy
Real Town
and John. In
with John
Real
and
Town.
Tracy.
Peace.
Check us
we
out on our.
Did you hear that, Ruben? We're
podcast.
out.
I think we're still on. We are. Look, Ruben. Can you get us off the air now? Because our show's over. Thanks. Thanks.
Don't mean to interrupt your food while the show's going on. Bye, kids. See you.
All the children, cut the lights. This is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing apart.